You wake up every morning with invisible wounds. Words that shouldn't matter still echo in your mind. A text left on read becomes a verdict on your worth. Someone's indifference feels like a blade twisting in your chest. You've built your entire life around avoiding pain, yet somehow you're bleeding more than ever. You armor yourself with achievements, with beauty, with success, but nothing stops the hurt from seeping through. What if I told you that Carl Jung discovered why we suffer, and more importantly, how to become psychologically invulnerable, not through building higher walls, but through something far more radical? Most people spend their lives as emotional marionettes, their strings pulled by every criticism, every rejection, every sideways glance. They hand out pieces of their soul like business cards, then wonder why they feel so hollow when someone doesn't call back. Jung saw this clearly. We've become addicted to external validation because we're terrified of meeting who we really are. Think about it. When was the last time someone's opinion didn't affect you? When did you last feel truly free from the need to be understood, accepted, loved? We live in an age where a stranger's comment online can ruin our entire week, where being left out of a group chat feels like social death, where one failed relationship makes us question our entire worth as human beings. Jung called this the tyranny of the persona, the mask we wear to be accepted. But here's what nobody tells you. The mask doesn't protect you. It makes you more vulnerable. Because when you define yourself by how others see you, you give them the power to destroy you with a single word. The modern world has perfected this torture. Social media turned rejection into a spectator sport. Dating apps made human connection a numbers game, where your worth is determined by a swipe. Professional life became a performance where one mistake can erase years of achievement. We're more connected than ever, yet we've never felt more fragile. Jung saw something darker, though. He realized that our emotional pain doesn't actually come from what others do to us. It comes from the parts of ourselves we've abandoned, the shadow we refuse to face. Every wound you carry is a piece of your own soul crying out to be acknowledged. And that's where we go now, into the depths of what Jung called the most terrifying journey any human can take, the journey inward. Jung spent decades mapping the architecture of human suffering. What he found was revolutionary and disturbing. He discovered that we create our own emotional prisons through what he called projections. Every time someone hurts us, we're not actually reacting to them. We're reacting to the disowned parts of ourselves that they activate. Picture this. A man spends his life being the nice guy, always agreeable, never causing conflict. He prides himself on being understanding, patient, kind. Then someone calls him weak, and it destroys him. Not because the words are true, but because deep in his shadow lives all the aggression, all the power, all the darkness he's spent his life denying. The insult doesn't hurt because it's false. It hurts because it points to a truth he's been running from. Jung wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But we don't want understanding. We want comfort. We want to believe that if we're just good enough, nice enough, successful enough, beautiful enough, we'll finally be safe from pain. This is the grand illusion. The more you try to be acceptable, the more vulnerable you become. Every compliment becomes a drug you need to function. Every criticism becomes a poison that threatens your very existence. You're not living your life anymore. You're performing it, desperately hoping for applause that never quite drowns out the voice inside asking, "Is this really who you are?" The shadow contains everything we've rejected about ourselves. Your rage, your selfishness, your perversity, your cruelty, your weakness, all the things that would make you unlovable if people knew. So you bury them. You create a false self that's supposed to be bulletproof. But Jung knew the truth. You can't kill parts of your psyche. You can only drive them underground, where they grow stronger, angrier, more destructive. Look at modern society. We've never been more positive on the surface. Everyone's living their best life online. Everyone's grateful and blessed. Yet anxiety and depression are at record highs. Why? Because the more we polish our personas, the more violent our shadows become. The parts of us we deny don't disappear. They turn into demons that torment us from within. Here's where it gets truly dark. Jung discovered that most of our emotional pain is actually self-inflicted. When someone rejects you, it's not their rejection that hurts. It's the part of you that already believed you were worthless. When someone criticizes your work, it's not their words that sting. It's your own hidden conviction that you're a fraud. The external world just holds up mirrors to our internal wounds. This is why trying to control what others think of you is futile. You're not fighting them, you're fighting yourself. Every person who hurts you is just revealing where you've already abandoned yourself, where you've already decided you're not enough, where you've already chosen the mask over the truth. Jung observed patients who spent decades building perfect lives, only to have them shattered by a single event. A divorce, a failure, a betrayal. And in that shattering, they discovered something terrifying. The life they'd been protecting wasn't even theirs. It was a performance, a desperate attempt to avoid meeting the stranger living inside their own skin. But here's where Jung's genius truly shines. He didn't just diagnose the disease, he found the cure. And it's not what you think. It's not about becoming stronger or more confident, or any of the self-help platitudes we're fed. It's about something far more radical: integration. Jung realized that true invulnerability doesn't come from building higher walls. It comes from having nothing left to defend. When you've faced every part of yourself, the murderer, the coward, the fool, the tyrant, when you've looked your own darkness in the eye and said, "You too are me," something miraculous happens. You become impossible to wound. Think about it. How can someone's opinion hurt you when you already know exactly who you are, shadows and all? How can rejection destroy you when you've already accepted every rejected part of yourself? How can failure break you when you understand that your worth was never dependent on success? This is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole. Not perfect, not good. Whole, complete, integrated. It's the psychological equivalent of digesting poison until you become immune. Every judgment that once would have devastated you becomes meaningless because you've already faced that judgment within yourself and survived. The modern world doesn't want you to individuate. It needs you fragmented, insecure, always seeking validation. How else would they sell you products to fix your inadequacy? How else would they keep you scrolling, searching for that next hit of approval? How else would they maintain a society of people so desperate to belong that they'll sacrifice their souls for a seat at the table? So how do you begin this journey? How do you build what Jung called the transcendent function, the ability to hold opposites within yourself without breaking? It starts with a simple but terrifying practice: conscious withdrawal of projections. Next time someone triggers you, stop. Before you react, ask yourself, what part of me are they showing me? When someone's arrogance infuriates you, find your own hidden arrogance. When someone's weakness disgusts you, locate your own denied fragility. When someone's success makes you bitter, acknowledge your own unlived ambitions. This isn't about blame or self-attack. It's about reclaiming your power. Every projection you withdraw is a piece of your soul you take back. Every trigger you transform is another string cut from the puppet master's hands. You're not becoming heartless, you're becoming whole. And wholeness, Jung discovered, is the only true protection against a world designed to tear you apart. The paradox is beautiful. The more you accept your darkness, the less others can use it against you. The more you embrace your weakness, the stronger you become. The more you admit your ordinariness, the more extraordinary your life becomes. Because it's finally, authentically, yours. In his later years, Jung wrote something that still sends chills down my spine. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not who others want you to be. Not who you think you should be. Who you truly are. Shadow and light. Beauty and horror. All of it integrated into one complete being. This is the secret to becoming emotionally invulnerable. Not through armor, but through authenticity so complete that there's nothing left to attack. When you've accepted every part of yourself, others' opinions become what they always were. Noise. Background static in a life you're finally living on your own terms. The ones who hurt you? They're not your enemies. They're your teachers, showing you where you still abandon yourself. The pain you feel? It's not punishment. It's guidance, pointing you toward the parts of your soul still crying out for integration. You came here believing that others had the power to hurt you. But Jung knew the truth. Nobody can wound a person who has already faced themselves completely. Nobody can reject someone who has accepted every part of themselves. Nobody can break someone who understands that they were never trying to be unbreakable. They were trying to be whole. So the question remains, are you brave enough to meet yourself? All of yourself? Or will you spend another lifetime bleeding from wounds that only you can heal?